they wandered along, they wondered how on earth they would find the Wicked Witch of the West. But they needn't have worried, because she found them. The Wicked Witch could see like a telescope, and she kept a special army of flying monkeys at her beck and call. She'd been watching out for Dorothy because she wanted to avenge the death of her friend, the Wicked Witch of the East. As soon as she saw Dorothy and her friends leave the palace, she sent the flying monkeys to capture them and bring them to her castle. She sneered as she looked down at the nervous group. I'm going to make you all suffer, but you, and she pointed at Dorothy, will suffer most of all. And she set them to work in the castle, polishing, sweeping, dusting, and peeling the potatoes. The monkeys kept watch over them and made Dorothy work the hardest of all. Their days were very miserable. The witch was really wicked. One day, in an even more violent temper than usual, she hit Toto with an umbrella. This was too much for Dorothy, who was on her hands and knees washing the floor. Stop it! Stop it, you horrible old witch! She shouted, and picking up the bucket of water, she threw it all over the witch. With a terrible yell, the witch began to dissolve. You're killing me! She shrieked. Water makes me disappear! And with that, she vanished before their eyes. Once the Wicked Witch was gone, the monkeys disappeared too, and Dorothy and her friends were free to go. Joyfully, they made their way back to the Emerald City. They were met at the gates by the keeper, who showed them to the throne room. There was no one sitting on the throne, but as they looked around, a loud voice they recognized rang out.
I am the all-powerful Wizard of Oz,
It boomed.
What do you want? Are you looking for me?
Surely you remember, shouted Dorothy. I'm Dorothy. You sent me and my friends to kill the Wicked Witch of the West before you agreed to grant us our wishes. We've returned to tell you that we succeeded. The witch is dead.
Did I say that?
Queried the wizard.
Oh, I really don't remember. Perhaps you'd better go and kill someone else before I can grant your wish.
Dorothy got very angry. You promised! She yelled. The lion let out an angry roar which startled Toto, who jumped in the air and knocked over a screen in the corner of the room. To everyone's amazement, hiding behind the screen was a little old grey-haired man.
Oh dear.
Who are you? Demanded Dorothy. The old man looked embarrassed, and then he said, I'm afraid I am the powerful Wizard of Oz. I'm not really a wizard at all. I'm a conjurer. Everything that you see, the Emerald City, this room, the giant head, they are all illusion. He went on to tell them his story. Several years ago, I worked in a circus, performing magic tricks and creating illusions. I used to use a hot air balloon to perform in. One day, the ropes holding the balloon to the ground worked loose, and the wind carried me off, up and up to the Kingdom of Oz. The people here had never seen a hot air balloon, and they thought I was a powerful wizard. I rather liked being a wizard, so I used some of my tricks to make them believe I had special magic powers. For instance, making everyone wear green glasses made the city look as if it was made of emeralds. But the only problem was the 4 witches. 2 of them were friendly, But the other two, the Witch of the East and the Witch of the West, were determined to expose me. I couldn't believe my luck when you killed the Witch of the East, so I took my opportunity to get you to kill the Witch of the West. I'm sorry if I tricked you, he added, but I was desperate. That's all very well, said Dorothy sternly. But what about us? What are we going to do? Well, suggested the wizard, I think in the Scarecrow's case, he doesn't really need a brain now. He has gained experience from his adventures, so he knows a lot now, instead of nothing. But if he really feels he needs a brain, I can make him one from a paste of bran and pins, so he'll always have a sharp intelligence. Ooh. And as for the Tin Man, he has shown that he is strong and true, but if he wants a heart to prove it, then I can give him this one, made of sawdust wrapped in a red cloth. Ah. The lion has proved how brave he is, but I can give him this bottle of courage so he can take a large draught when he feels in need. But as for you, Dorothy, that is more difficult. The only thing I can suggest is that I try to take you home in my hot air balloon. So the wizard got out his hot air balloon and repaired the ropes with long pieces of silk. Finally, it was all ready to go. The wizard climbed into the basket and called to Dorothy and Toto to climb aboard.
Before I leave, he announced, I want to appoint the Scarecrow as governor of the Emerald City in my absence. He will take care of everything until I return.
The wizard was so busy making speeches that he hadn't noticed a great gust of wind blowing up. And before Dorothy and Toto could get into the basket, the balloon lifted up and shot into the sky, leaving them all behind as the wizard waved forlornly. Goodbye, Dorothy! Oh, no! Dorothy was in despair. She thought she would never get home now.
Don't worry,
said the Scarecrow.
we won't give up yet. Let's follow the yellow brick road back and try to find the Witch of the South. She will help us.
So the friends set off yet again, but this time they were braver and wiser. After several days, they finally found the Witch of the South. They told her their story and the tale of their adventures in the Kingdom of Oz. So you see, said Dorothy, we've done everything possible, and now we need you to help us. Of course, agreed the witch. That is only fair. Each one of you can have a wish, and it will be granted immediately. The Scarecrow asked to go back and govern the Emerald City, because he now felt clever enough to do a job. The Tin Man wanted a kingdom of his own, so he could practice being good and kind. So the Witch of the South gave him the kingdom of the Wicked Witch of the West. The Lion wanted to be the king of the animals again, now that he felt strong and brave. And that left Dorothy. All I want is for Toto and me to go home to Kansas, she said. That's no problem either, laughed the Witch of the South. The silver shoes you're wearing have the power to take you home. If only she had known, she could have gone home the day she arrived in the Kingdom of Oz. But then she would have missed all the wonderful adventures that had happened to her. Dorothy said goodbye to her friends and did as the Witch of the South had told her. She stamped her heels 3 times while saying the name of the place she wanted to go. Home to Kansas! In a flash, Dorothy, with Toto in her arms, was back in the big field in front of her home. The silver shoes had gone, and everything on the farm was just as she had left it. Dorothy was overjoyed to be back with her aunt and uncle, but she knew she would never forget the wizard and her adventures in the Kingdom of Oz.